Wait, can y'all hear me now? Thank you, Marily, for letting me know that you can hear me now. Okay, I can't believe that. I was talking all that time and y'all couldn't hear me. That was on me. That was on me. So let's start all this from the beginning. Oh, bless my heart. And I do mean that in every Southern way. Hey, Caroline. Hey, Morelli. Hi, people watching online. Sorry you couldn't hear me. Yeah, that's because I'm a little slow. It's probably because it's disrespectfully cold outside. I do believe my one brain cell is frozen because here it is like 1 degree and feels like -17. That's our wind chill. So let's start again. Let's read this question. Which of the following best describes a mortgage loan with a balloon payment? And Marilla, you asked if I enjoyed my aunt's birthday. I did. Luckily, the people in my family live very well, very much so into their 90s on both sides of my family. So even though she turned 87, I just like to spend time with her. All right. So which of the following best describes a mortgage loan with a balloon payment? Is it A, a loan with fully amortized payments that end with a zero balance? B, a loan with an interest rate that changes based on market rates? C, a loan that has smaller periodic payments and a large final payment at the end of the term? Or D, a loan that requires no down payment? Now, both of you all said C. Our answer is C, a loan that has smaller periodic payments and a large final payment at the end of the term, because yes, that is the definition. This is the definition of a balloon payment. And the opposite of a balloon payment would be our fully amortized loan. So I love that. I love that y'all got the right answer there. Yay. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Are we ready for our next one? But oh, wait a minute. Y'all said C. You all said the answer was C, and that means we earned our.
I like carrots, and you should too. It goes crunch, 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 and it's good for you.
We like carrots,
and you should too. It goes crunch, crunch, crunch.
All right. 49. A tenant signs a lease that requires them to pay rent plus certain property expenses, like taxes and maintenance. What type of lease is this? That's right. Crunch, crunch, crunch. What type of lease is this? Okay, you said 49. It is B. We got one B here. Morelli says B. Caroline, you are telling me it is B as well. And we do like B as an answer because guess what? It's correct. B is our right answer because it is correct. We love that. Yeah. So we know the opposite is going to be our gross lease, and our gross lease is when the landlord pays for everything. And our percentage lease is when you've got you pay a percentage of your rent, and you pay your rent and you pay a percentage of the money that comes in. But I know y'all knew that. I know you knew that. All right. And next, in a real estate transaction, which document itemizes all credits, charges, and the final cost due at closing? In a real estate transaction, which document itemizes all credits, charges, and the final cost due at closing? Is it the appraisal report, the purchase agreement, the closing disclosure, or the deed? All right, Marilla, you said C. We got one C here. And I think I want to add in, it goes over all the debits, which, I guess that's what they mean by charges. But there you go. All right. And yes, both of you are correct. Our answer is C, because C is for cookie. That's good enough for me. Hey, nice. And no, I think we're good. Just remember, when I think of closing disclosure, let's make sure we are knowing and understanding RESPA and I'm going to say versus truth in lending, right? Because they're going to test you on that. All right, 51. When comparing a recently sold home to a subject property for market analysis, How should you adjust the sales price of the comparable if the comparable has a feature that that the subject property lacks? Good gosh. Let's say that again. So we're asking, how should we adjust if the comp has a feature the subject property lacks? So that means our comp is better than the subject. And we can remember our acronym for this. We know that's going to be CIA and CBS. That stands for if the comp is inferior, you add, and if the comp is better, you subtract. If the comp is inferior, you add, and if the comp is better, you subtract. And we figured out our comp is better than the subject. So let's see which one matches. So add the value of the feature to the comparable sales price. So, okay, it says if the comp is better, we subtract. So, yeah, we're not going to be adding value. And remember, I'll just put add here just in case you need to be reminded. It says subtract the value of the feature from the comparable sales price. I like that one. Add the value of the feature. No, we're not adding. We already know we're not adding, so that's not it. That's not it. Let's see if D gives us something better. And that's going to be make no adjustment as the comparables price reflects market conditions. And that's not our answer either, because if the comp is inferior, we add. And if the comp is better, we subtract, making our answer B. And just remember, we are always, always, always either adding or subtracting from the comp, never the sales price. You still need to memorize this. You understand the concept. Good. Yeah. CIA, CBS, I think is the easiest way to remember it. And it's just, maybe put it on a flashcard, right? That's what I would do. Put it on a flashcard. Actually, I would say stick it on your mirror in your bathroom. If you've just got that one thing that is not sticking in your head, put it on your mirror in the bathroom and then put it on a Post-it note underneath your computer if you have like a monitor. That helps because then you're seeing it all the time. You always say the opposite, CIA, CBS, CIA. Well, I always think of the CIA. There would be a show called CIA on CBS. It's like, in my mind, when I remember it, I think of, okay, who would star in this show? CIA on CBS. I know. Hey, Tricks. So, number 52. In a leasehold estate, which term describes the tenant's interest in the property? Which term describes the tenant's interest in the property? Is it a freehold estate, a fee simple estate, a leasehold estate, or remainder interest? All right, 52. I got a C from both you and Marilyn and Caroline. And Tricks, what do you think our answer is? Although I already know you're going to get it right. So while I wait for you to tell me, I know that freehold estate means you own the property. Fee simple means it's inheritable. And a remainder interest is when you're that third party the property goes to, if it doesn't go back to the original owner, making our answer C, leasehold. And remember, the other word for that is non-freehold or a leasehold, less than freehold. Let me erase that. Less than freehold. So you could see it referred to any of those ways. Okay. 53. Under federal environmental laws, what is the seller's responsibility regarding lead-based paint when selling a home built before 1978? So what are our responsibilities? And by ours, I mean really the sellers. What are the seller's responsibilities if it was built, that home was built before 1978? Is it A, remove any lead-based paint before listing the property? B, disclose any known presence of lead-based paint? C, have the property tested for lead-based paint before selling? Or D, remove any lead-based paint before the sale closes? Well, let's see. Let's try to figure out each one by one. A says, remove any lead-based paint before listing the property. Well, no, that's not true. You don't have to remove it before listing the property. So, no, it's not going to be it. All right. B says, disclose any known presence of lead-based paint. I like that one. Let's keep it as a maybe. C, have the property tested for lead-based paint before selling. Seems like that would be right, but it's not true. The seller doesn't have to test it for you. And then D, remove any lead-based paint before the sale closes. Again, they don't have to remove. This law is all about just the seller and the agent disclosing that they know that there is a lead-based paint danger or lead-based, danger of any type. So yes, it is B. I'm bringing home a baby, bumblebee. Oh, won't my mama be so proud of me? Or it could be bees in the trap, bees in the trap. Bees in the trap, bees in the trap. Oh, I love that song. I do. Thank you for reminding me, Caroline. We had songs for that. If there is lead, then it is up to the buyer to accept. Yes. So it gives the buyer an opportunity to check for lead. And if they want to back out after that, that's fine. But sellers don't have to remove it. They just have to be honest about what they know. And it's okay if they say, hey, as far as I know, I don't know of any lead-based paint, but oh, by the way, my house was built before 1978. They don't need the option contract. Nope. Mm-mm. Now, if it's just a deal breaker, if it's just a deal breaker for them, then they can add a clause, a contingency clause in their contract, but that would be a discussion you'd want to have with your buyer before they even got under contract so you could have that clause in the contract. Great questions today. Good. All right, 54. What does the loan to value ratio represent in real estate financing? What does the loan to value ratio represent in real estate financing? Is it A, the portion of the property value covered by the buyer's down payment? B, the relationship between the loan amount and the property's appraised value? C, the amount the buyer must pay upfront to secure the loan? Or D, the total cost of the loan, including interest and fees? Well, yeah, it's not D. It is not D. This reminds me of like APR, and we're not there. That's not what we're talking about in this question. So at least we got a 33 and a third chance of getting this right now. So let's see what else we can eliminate. The amount a buyer must pay up front to secure the loan, C, well, that would be the definition of a down payment. The relationship between the loan amount and the property's appraised value, I kind of like that one, And then you've got the portion of the property value covered by the buyer's down payment. Well, no, the down payment, this down payment is going to be your original equity that you have in the home. As long as you're not paying more than what it's worth, more than appraised value, your down payment is the equity you have in your house from the get-go, because you know that's your money, that's your value. If you sold the house, the rest of the money would have to go to the bank. All right, 55. A property owner wants to build a daycare in a residentially zoned area. What process would they typically follow to seek approval? So a property owner wants to build a daycare in a residentially zoned area. What process would they typically follow to seek approval? A file for a variance, a request a zoning amendment, apply for a special use permit, or D, submit an encroachment application. Y'all got a clue on this one? Well, let's break it down. We know variance is about a hardship. We know, and we know it's not D too. Yep. Okay, I love that Caroline said it's not D because encroachment. This isn't about encroachment, so we're eliminating D. And I'm going to say it's not variance because with the variance, you got to prove you have a hardship. And that's not what this question's about. So it's either B or C. All right. So we've either got apply for a special use permit or request a zoning amendment. Here's the thing. If you do a zoning amendment, everything changes. Everything in that zone changes. But if you apply for a special use permit, they're going to allow you to do that use because they've already incorporated it into the word or the text of the zoning. So it's that actual zoning code will say, ordinance will say, hey, this is residential, but we'll allow daycares, we'll allow some businesses to work from home, we'll allow this, we'll allow that. We'll allow somebody to bring have a ice cream truck come down the street, a couple times a week. I don't know. So yes, our answer is C, apply for that special use permit. The key is the zoning already said, oh yeah, this is what you want to do. Knock yourself out. You just need to come to us and get permission first. Right? Versus a zoning amendment would change the entire area. Anybody could put up a commercial, anything. That's not what we're looking for. All right, 56. What type of interest does a buyer typically hold in a property after signing the purchase agreement, but before the transaction officially closes? What type of interest does the buyer have? Now, we know freehold means ownership, so they don't have a freehold interest. And if I know they don't have a freehold interest, I can get rid of fee simple ownership. And also, it's a buyer, so I can get rid of leasehold interest. Right there, we've narrowed it down. And yes, I love your answer there, ladies. You both said B. You both said B. Yep. And that's the answer. And Trix, I just saw what you said in your chat. You said it's not changing the zoning. It's basically adding. It's allowing somebody to do it. I think you've got a perfect understanding of that. Awesome. Oh, and so ladies, I wanted to tell you all because I am going to do Sunday. I'm going to do, as long as I have power, I mean, just getting kind of cold, but I will do 5 o'clock on Sunday as well. Just because, I had to leave early on Wednesday. So there you go. All right, 57. Which of the following encumbrances typically affects only the title of the property rather than its physical use? Which of the following encumbrances typically affects only the title of the property rather than its physical use? Is it A, restrictive covenant, B, mechanics lien, C, easement and gross, or D, encroachment? This is a good one. This is a good one. All right, we got B, mechanics lien. We got one B. Well, it says something that doesn't affect its physical use. Well, that can't be a restrictive covenant because if they tell you you can't have chickens on your property, that is affecting your physical use. Well, an easement and gross, that could be like a personal easement. You give somebody the right to cross your land. Well, now that piece of, that land where they're using to cross, you can't put a fence up on that. You can't block it. So yeah, that's going to affect how much you can and can't do with your land. So that is physical. And then we know an encroachment is when you've got somebody else's space or item that's in your space. or they put a fence over the boundary line. So they're kind of using your space. Obviously, if they're using it and they put a fence up, that stops your physical ability to use it. So because we're talking about what's not a physical detriment to the property, our answer has to be Mechanics Lane. It will affect title, but it doesn't affect the use. Hopefully we feel good about that. All right. All right. 58. A home sells for $350,000 and the buyer is making a 10% down payment. The listing agent charges a 6% commission. How much is the listing agent's commission? Well, I know they give us this 10% down payment, but we don't need it for this property. We know we get paid commissions off of total sales price, and it's 6%. So where's my handy dandy calculator? $21,000. So I did 350 times 6%, $21,000. Nice, easy math, and there's nothing wrong with that. We take the wins where we can get them. Take those wins. All right. Which of the following characteristics is most important when selecting comparable properties for a CMA, or comparative market analysis? Which of the following properties is most important when selecting comparable properties for a CMA or comparative market analysis? Is it A, the properties were listed within the last 12 months? B, the properties are located in the same school district? C, the properties were sold recently and they're similar in size and features? Or D, the properties were built around the same time as the subject property? Now it's asking us what's most important. So we got one person. It's okay. Both of you all are saying C over there. The properties were recently. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Sorry, guys. I just dropped my water all over everything. Let me go grab a paper towel because this is my iPad. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I will be right back. Just here. I'm gonna go ahead and give you 58 and 59. Or how about we do 59 and 60? Let me just go grab this paper towel. I'm so sorry. All right, cleaning this up. All right, I am so sorry, guys. That is what happens when we go live. We get the live mistakes. It's like being live on TV. Okay. Okay, patted it down. Oh, sorry, I moved it. All right, I think it's good, y'all. I think it's good. Whew.
It didn't hit your iPad, did it?
It hit my iPad, but I keep a cover on my iPad, but I still didn't want it like getting in the holes or anything. And so, yeah. And I keep I have a desktop Mac, so that's lifted up on a plastic thing. I was good with that. Whew.
That was good.
Yeah. We pay entirely too much for our electronics. I'm gonna need them to make them completely waterproof. Because, yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't came up with that yet.
They have those cases, but they're so bulky. So, all right. Thank you. Back to 59. So which of these is going to be most important? I'm not a big fan of the which is most important. I know they do it a lot, but we have to really take a look. I think that everybody knows, I'm hoping that we can eliminate, the whole in the same school district. You can be in the same school district and be completely different homes, right? And built around the same time as the subject property. I mean, yeah, you could have a 1,500 square foot house or a 4,500 square foot house, right? Right? Tricks, electronics, and liquids are scary. Right? And I think I agree with both of all of you all. All of you all said C, that they're sold recently. It is important, like the time is important. If they said it sold 12 years ago, that's gonna eliminate something. But if it's sold recently and are similar in size and features, that is the most comprehensive answer. We like that answer. All right. 60. A principal is to a client as a fiduciary is to a what? Oh my gosh, we're back at the SATs. A principal is to a client as a fiduciary is to a, and we know a principal is the same thing as a client. We can use those words. Your client is your principal. So it's a synonym. What's another synonym for a fiduciary? Is it customer, agent, lender, or vendee? What you thinking? Well, we know vendee, that's going to have something to do with sales, and that's going to be the person receiving, and it helps if I spell it right, receiving something. Is it me, or every time you spell words like receiving, I go I before E, except after C, or followed by what? Can't help it. Can't help it. I can't do it otherwise. So it's not lender. So now we're between customer and agent. So fiduciary, the meaning of the word fiduciary is trust. And so is there a trust relationship between you and a customer or you as an agent? So our answer is actually B, agent. And think of it this way. I know that you all know that we have our fiduciary duties. And I was writing the word duties like old car. We know that. Those are called our fiduciary duties. Because you are a fiduciary. When you act in somebody's behalf, you are that fiduciary. You are the agent. Yes. So customer, remember, this is what you owe your client, owe car, and then you owe your customer fairness, honesty, and disclosure of material facts. Right? So when you are the customer, you should not trust that the agent is going to be on your side and doing everything for you. So yeah, really, you're correct. So the principal is the owner of the house. Exactly. The principal and the client are the client is the person you work for. The principal is the person that is, in control of the agency, I guess. It's the person you're representing. So that is why that is the answer. Good. Nice job, Miss Tricks. Nice job. All right, 61. Which of the following must a seller disclose in most real estate transactions? Which of the following must a seller disclose in most real estate transactions? Oh, you said, I think I got confused there. That's okay, Marley. I get confused all the time. I can't even drink water apparently without dropping it on my iPad. So, hey, what? It happens. Again, with it being this cold, I blame it on the cold. This disrespectful cold. So, which one must the seller disclose in most real estate transactions? A, the seller's motivation for selling. B, all previous offers on the property. C, known material defects in the property. Or D, any outstanding mortgages. Well, lucky for us, we just talked about this. I just talked about our fiduciary duties, making our answer, I'm sick of green, making our answer known material defects. If you're an agent and you know that there's a defect in the property, you have to tell it. And the seller is going to have to tell it in most real estate transactions. Now, this is where I go, woo, woo. If you are a North Carolina person, right, then that's not true because in North Carolina, sellers don't have to tell you anything. But on the national side of the test, even from my North Carolina people or any other state, if you're on the just basic national side, know that sellers generally in the majority of states do have a responsibility to share material facts, right? Just like because you put it in the chat, I have a responsibility to give you the carrot song again.
I like carrots, and you should too. It goes crunch, 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 and it's good for you. We like carrots, and you should too. It goes crunch, crunch, crunch.
Hey, you asked for it, Miss Caroline. I gave it to you, and I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So, next one. Unless you have questions, you can ask. Hey, Crispy Crazy. Crispy Crazy. I love that name. Is that Invader Zim? Is that Invader Zim for your picture, Crispy Crazy? See, now I like you, Chris. Okay, 62. What is the primary professional responsibility of a real estate agent to their client? Well, guys, we were just talking about this. These fiduciary duties is old car, obedience, loyalty, disclosure of information, care and skill, confidentiality, accounting, and reasonable care and skill. Whew. All right. So what is the primary professional responsibility of a real estate agent to their client? Is it A, to treat all parties equally and fairly? Absolutely not. You have to treat everybody fairly, but equally? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If somebody equally, no, no, no. Your client gets more than your customer does. So it's not A. All right. You said next it's cookies, tricks. Okay, next C, we getting cookies. B, to prioritize their client's interest above their own. Okay, I like that one because that is true. You should be on team your client, not team your pocketbook or your wallet. C, to secure the highest sales price for the seller. Not always. Sometimes it's more about getting it sold fast. Or D, to negotiate favorable terms for all parties. Yeah, no, it's not about everybody getting good terms. Again, if you want somebody to fight for you, then get your own agent. Giving us a final answer of B, to prioritize their client's interest above their own. Final answer, B's in the trap. B's in the trap, right? That is our answer. So, 63. Which appraisal method is typically used to determine the value of a single family home? Which is used for the single family home? Now, off the bat, Marilla, you said it is C. She's given us a sales comparison approach. Well, let's see. Do we like that answer? Oh, Caroline said C too, because we know it's not income approach. That's for money making property. So it's not that. We know cost approach is going to be for unique properties, something that doesn't have good comps. We're saying that sales comparison is our answer. And then we've got the gross rent multiplier approach, which, guys, by the way, that's one of the income approaches. And we already know that's not our answer because we said no to the income approach. So yeah, it's got to be the sales comparison approach. And this is why I love eliminating answers. It's going to be nerve-wracking no matter who you are and what you're doing when you go to take this exam. So if you can eliminate some answer choices, that'll make you feel better about, okay, I probably did choose the right answer. Sorry, now I'm being very careful as I take a drink of water. I'm like leaning over because apparently I can't be trusted. Okay, 64. Which of the following is an example of a zoning ordinance? You really like that method, Caroline? I do too. And I will tell you, as I'm studying for my Michigan exam, because I moved and I've been a slacker, been here almost a year now. I do the same thing. I feel better when I eliminate answer choices. So I feel better because at that point, it's harder to misread the question. Like I'm really digging into the details. So, and I don't go too far into the weeds. So, there you go. 64, what is the following of an example? Which of the following is an example of a zoning ordinance? A law requiring homeowners to pay property taxes. B, a rule that limits building heights in specific areas. C, a regulation mandating the disclosure of lead-based paint. Or D, prohibition on painting homes in certain colors. All right. So in my mind, when I think zoning, I think a government rule that tells you what you can or can't do with the property. I mean, that's exactly what I thought of when we said, okay, this has got to be, what is it? So a law requiring homeowners to pay property taxes, A, cannot be our answer because what? It says law. It says law. That's not what we're looking for. A rule that limits building heights in a specific area, well, that is a zoning ordinance. It's telling you, how you can use your property. So it seems like a pretty good one. C, a regulation mandating the disclosure of lead-based paint. Nope, that's the law too. We just talked about law. I was just talking about the other night and earlier today, lead-based paint. That's a law. And then D, prohibition on painting homes. That would probably be HOA. And if it's HOA, then it's going to be private. So even though I don't love the answer, I wouldn't have put it in these words. I do know this stuff enough to know that B is the best answer choice here. A rule that limits building heights in a specific area. And there we go. It is one of the powers. Yep, you're absolutely right. So Caroline said, isn't that one of the government powers? Caroline, look at you, Caroline. That's exactly what I want you to do. You're putting this information together. We know our powers of government are Pete. This is police power. This is eminent domain. I don't know if I spelled eminent right. Just go with it. T is for taxes. Okay, what is my brain doing? Taxes. I don't want to pay taxes so much that I can't spell it. And then the E is for escheat. When you die intestate with no will and there are no heirs, then it escheats to the state. Very good. I just love it. All right, 65. What is the process called when a private property owner voluntarily grants land for public use, such as a park or a road? What do we call it when a private property voluntarily grants land for public use, such as for a park or a public road? In Puerto Rico, your property is yours to the moon. Yeah. They don't have building. There's no kind of building codes on how tall a property can be in Puerto Rico. Huh. Interesting. All right. So I know, Marilla, you said C, eminent domain, but I'm going to eliminate that because remember, eminent domain is one of the powers of government. This is where a private owner is giving land to the public. So it's the opposite. So it's not going to be eminent domain. It's really easy to fall into that trap, but we're talking about the opposite. In this case, it's not somebody taking, it's somebody, the owner, giving to the public. Well, we know it's not an easement because an easement is the right to cross or use somebody's land. So that's not it. So we're down between conversion and dedication. Conversion has to do with trust monies and basically converting them to personal use. So our answer is D, dedication. Boom, shakalaka, boom. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like. Love it. Oh, a math one. Okay, we got this. We got this. A buyer secures a $280,000 loan at an interest rate of 5% annually. What is the first month's interest payment? Excuse me. So we need a couple of, well, we just want to think about what happens here, right? And I'm going to spell this out because I think it's important. You know that there is, you buy the house, you get a loan, and there's an original loan amount. Then from that original loan amount, you make your first payment. You make that first payment, but that first payment is going to be PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. But the only part of that payment, of this pity payment, is going to be principal. The only part that's going to reduce how much you owe is your principal. So we need to know a couple of things here. We need to know how much is the payment. Well, you don't need to really know how much the payment is. You just need to know monthly how much interest is going to go. So this is the only part that reduces your payment. So this would be minus the principal, and that would give you a new balance. Your taxes and insurance go to an escrow account, and then your interest goes to a bank. What we're looking for is how much interest did the bank make off of you in 1 month. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take the $280,000. I'm going to multiply it by 5% because that's going to give me an amount of annual interest. So 280 times 5%. Gave me $14,000. This $14,000 is how much interest you would owe for a year, but we're not looking for a year. We're looking for 1 month. So I'm going to take this and divide it by 12. So $14,000 divided by 12. Oh, come on. $14,000 divided by 12 equals $1,166.666666. So I know my answer is I took a green too. 1,166.67. That would be monthly interest. 1,167. Boom shakalaka laka boom. Boom shakalaka laka boom. All right. Hopefully that's good. Caroline, I saw you get that first step. I know you don't even have math on the test, but you're going to be so ready once you're going to be so ready. You're going to be so on it when you get your first client. I love it. All right. 67. Home inspections, zoning verification, market research, and title search are all part of which process in the real estate transaction? So home inspection, zoning verification, market research, title search are all part of which process? Is it A, due diligence, B, land survey, C, liability insurance, or D, assemblage? Well, assemblage, does anybody know what assemblage is? That's when you have 2 lots. There's lot 1 and lot 2. And maybe individually they're each worth $5K. But when you add them together, their value is $13K. It's this idea that you're putting them together, right? So it's not assemblage. Next, we have liability insurance. No, it's not anything to do with it. We're down to 2. Land survey or due diligence. Well, you know what a land survey is. A land survey is done by a surveyor, and that's where you come in and you go, oh, here's where the borders are, and this is how many far feet back it is. I mean, you know what a survey is. That's not it. So yeah, our answer is going to be due diligence. You use this term in some states on residential, but a lot of states in commercial real estate. You get under contract and then you have this time to do your due diligence. You get time to check out everything you wanted to know about the property and then let them know. So, like, hey, I do want to buy the house or I don't want to buy the house. So, due diligence is our answer because you would be looking at the home inspections. You'd be looking to verify you could zone it for that in-home business. You're going to do market research. Is this thing increasing in value, going down in value? And of course, a title search. All of those have to do with due diligence. So, Merle, you can assume the concept of due diligence is the same for pre-licensing and post-licensing. I don't want to say it's always commercial because it's not, but it's about this idea. The buyer is buying the right to inspect and get questions answered. And if they don't like it for any reason whatsoever, they can pop out. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, 68. Tenancy in common. In tenancy in common, how do multiple owners hold ownership shares? And tenancy in common, how do multiple owners hold ownership shares? Is it A, equally with automatic transfer with 2 surviving co-owners? Nope, that would be joint tenancy. Okay, B, independently with distinct ownership shares. Okay, well, I mean, that's good. Jointly with equal authority over the property. Well, you do have equal authority over the property, but is it jointly or is it independently? Or is it with a right of survivorship? No, it's not D. Because we said it's tenancy in common. And in a tenancy in common, you can have unequal interest as long as your possession is equal. So it's, and let me say, when it's in let me pull it up. I'm just going to pull it up. You've seen this cheat sheet before. Ooh. Remember, in tenancy in common, you can have unequal amounts of ownership. But when somebody dies, the property is going to go to their heirs. The property goes to that person's heirs, not the remaining owners. If we did that, that would make it joint tenancy. So we go back to our question. So many open documents. Boom. If we go back to our question, it's not that you own it tenancy, joint tenancy, like this jointly should be a keyword too. Like this jointly makes, you don't own it jointly, although you do have equal, somewhat equal authority over the property. What it really should say, they all have equal possession. But once again, that answer is wrong. So boom, let's get rid of it. Meaning our only answer that we felt good about was B, independently with distinct ownership shares. You don't need permission to sell your share. You just don't. You just don't. How come nobody reminded me to go 6, 7? Right? All right, next one. A family-run convenience store has been in business in a mostly residential neighborhood for over 50 years. Recently, the town passed a zoning ordinance that prohibits all retail businesses in the neighborhood. The convenience store, is it A, will have to close before the end of the calendar year? B, can remain open under the Urban Planning Zoning Act? C, can remain open if they have or add an apartment above the store? Or D, can get a zoning variance for the non-conforming use. Uh-oh. It's okay, Caroline. You can say whatever answer you think it is. And this time you said it's D. This time you said it's D. Right? Well, let's take a look. The convenience store doesn't have to close by the end of the calendar year. That's not like a point blank rule. Can remain open under the Urban Planning Zoning Act. That sounds like a really good answer, but no. The Urban Planning Zoning Act has nothing to do with this. Not in this scenario. Can remain open if they have or add an apartment above the store. Like, your zoning at the bottom still doesn't match. So what you have is a non-conforming use, something that exactly, Caroline, something that was grandfathered in. It's our non-conforming use. Awesome sauce. So our answer is D. New color. 70. And we'll do these last two. What will generally happen to the price of existing homes if a neighborhood has a growing demand for single-family housing, but the land available for new construction is running low? So if you have demand for something, but not a lot of product, does that make our prices go up or does it make our prices go down? So I'm going to answer that in a second, Marilla. I'll come back. And yes, Tricks, what you answered for the last one is good too. So if there's a lot of demand for something, but there's not a lot of it to go around, you all already know our answer would be A, our prices will increase. People want it, there's not enough, then people start paying more and more and more and more. They do not pay less if there's not a lot of something, they pay more. So we can eliminate this, and we know the prices won't stay the same. The prices will fluctuate unpredictably. No, not necessarily. Just because they go up doesn't mean they go down, and that would be the answer of fluctuate. So, nope. Nope. Our answer is A. Good guessing, guys. And 71, our final question for the day. Which of the following is a type of involuntary lien? Which one is a lien you did not choose? Is it a primary mortgage, HELOC mortgage, reverse mortgage, or judgment lien? What says you? Primary mortgage, HELOC, home equity line of credit, reverse mortgage, or judgment lien? All right, we got a D for judgment lien from Caroline Amarilli, and okay, you haven't answered yet, Miss Tricks. You like the bread and toilet issue for the snowstorm. Yeah, the stupid snowstorm. Yeah. So yes, our answer is D. It's a judgment lien. You choose to get a mortgage. You choose to get a line of credit. If you need cash, you might choose to get the reverse mortgage where the bank pays you cash. But yeah, you choose all those. So those aren't chosen. The only one that's not chosen is a judgment lien. So I want to roll back one to 69 real quick. This zoning variance, yes, it is also the word you want to think of is grandfathered. So maybe you want to think of, I don't know, I need to come up with some fancy dancy story. I also need to come up with some handwriting practice. Good googly go. Grandfathered in. So you do, if they change the rules, you need to go to your county, your municipality and be like, hey, you know, you changing the rules. This is my business. This is my income. And generally, as long as you're not doing something ridiculous, they're gonna grant you this variance. And then there you go. Nope. I said variance, grandfathered in. Sorry, non-conforming use. I'm losing my mind. I really am. All right. On that note, guys, I will see you all Sunday, 5 p.m. That's Eastern, so that'd be 3 p.m. No, 2 p.m. on the West Coast. You know how this works, so I'm going to say goodbye as always. Ah, I love it. And Sundays, I think remember in February, I'm going to go to Sundays because I just feel like more people are able to listen. So starting in February, next week, I'll do a Friday class. And then the first week in February, be doing Wednesdays and Sundays. Wait, when is the first Sunday? Hold the presses. Hold the presses. Get my phone. Is it? Sunday on the first Sunday on the first day of the month on a Sunday. It is. So 2 weekends from now, I guess I'm doing Sundays from now on because I got the 24th and the 31st, I got the 25th this weekend and then the first. So from here on out, it's always going to be Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern. I will see y'all next time and everybody have a great weekend.
Thank you,
Stay
Candace.
warm.
You too. And
Oh,
thank you,
thank you.
Morel.
All right. Bye.